Hello, my name is Obermaster Ozzy, and this is a post-commentary track over my, not really my current PB, but this is my submission video for SGDQ 2023. I'm submitting this as part of a relay race, 80% trifecta that me and 7 other runners are going to be submitting to SGDQ 2023. Now the part I'm going to be playing is Splatoon 2 Hero Mode. It's going to be a 4-game relay race. We're going to do Splatoon 1 80%, Splatoon 2 80%, Splatoon 2 Octo Expansion 80%, and then Splatoon 3 80%. So I'm going to be doing these Splatoon 2 80% run. It is the longest run out of all the four. I'm going to be doing this against Lantro, who is the current world record holder of this category, and all the other 80% categories as well. But this is one that we're both going to be doing. So this is my submission video for that. I'm just going to be explaining the video I'm going to be submitting and what the run is going to look like. And I'm going to talk about more in depth on the relay race as well later on. But now I'm just going to kind of like talk about the run. I'm also, this is not my current PB. It's very close to my PB, but it's not my current PB, and I'm going to go into more in depth into that later on. But to start, we just go through the tutorial here. Splatoon 2 80% starts when you boot up a new file and you select your Inkling, and as soon as you hit start, that's when the run begins. So you just go through the tutorial, all the news stuff, just a bunch of mashing. And then we'll get into the single player campaign. You might notice that I'm playing this on Spanish. Spanish language saves 7 seconds compared to English. So that's why you'll see probably both Lantro and I running this on Spanish. So just a bit of mashing right here, and then we're about to get into Octo Canyon, which is the single player. Now, what sets this campaign apart from the other ones is that this is actually the only single player. This is the only 80% category in Splatoon where we actually play every single level. None of the other categories do that. There other categories, sometimes they'll skip a world or skip almost all the levels just because you can just kind of do a bunch of tricks and just go through the overworld and get to the end. But this run, we're actually going to be playing every single level in the game. Only 80% category that does that, at least until we discover some sort of level skip. But considering this game has been out for, man, almost 6 years now, probably not going to happen. But it's still a pretty interesting run regardless. I should also get this out of the way now. I was playing this during a live stream, and so you're probably, I don't talk too much during this, but you're gonna be hearing a little bit of my live commentary from this run that I was doing during one of my streams at Twitch TV /OboMasterOzzy. I'm not using that to kind of promo my channel. I'm just kind of saying that just so you know I have a Twitch channel. So I should say there might be a little bit of language, sometimes a curse word. There are a couple curse words that will probably slip out in a couple places if I remember from this run correctly. So I'll be sure to call them out. I promise I won't do that live during a marathon run. I'm pretty good at controlling my language when need be. But here, this is the first level. The first thing I'll point out is I'm using I start with the hero shot weapon, and this game really wanted to really emphasize on how important upgrades are. And so what the game developers decided to do was give it a very weak fire rate, so to kind of incentivize you to upgrade it. We do upgrade the hero shot, but only at the very end for the final boss, just because it requires 800 power eggs to upgrade it. I'll use the splashdown there to try to get rid of all the enemies. I'm about to use another one here. Just going to get rid of those two. Didn't get all of them, but just that last one right there. But his bloom popped, so he just fell down to this doom. Only lost a couple of seconds there. Not too bad. The rest of this level is, I'd say, fairly straightforward. I use a lot of these sponges here that inflate when you shoot them, and then deflate when enemies shoot them. Those are the things that I just shot there called pufferfish. They basically explode. You're going to be see me using those a lot because they instantly explode while you shoot them, so they can be very handy. And again, I'll be using those a lot. But that's the first level. I think I got a 150 there, which is pretty decent. I'd say that's about average, at least for me. I think the best time I've ever gotten is a 147. About to get into the second level here. We have to shoot the kettles, which are invisible, in order to unlock them. This is World 1. There are 3 levels in World 1, and as soon as you beat all of them, then it unlocks that world's boss. And that formula will basically continue for the rest of the game, except in Worlds 2 through 5, there are 5 worlds total. You have to beat 6 levels in order to unlock the boss, and then beating the boss will unlock the next world, and then so on. So, pretty simple. You just go through the overworld, play every level, unlock the boss, beat the boss, get to the next world, and then you have to do that 5 times. There, I kind of damage boost through those ink pillars. A lot of times you'll probably see me throw a bomb ahead of me. Because the fire rate is very weak, a lot of times I'll throw a bomb ahead of me to destroy something, because it'll be a lot faster than just shooting it and waiting for the very slow fire rate to do the damage. The little cool little bounce there. Throw another bomb there, get rid of those 2 boxes so I don't have to shoot 1 instead of 3. This is also a cycle-based level. I was able to make a pretty good, I think the best cycle there. 114, that's pretty good. I think the overall best is a 113, so that was a pretty good level. So I'm about to get into the final level before the boss in World 1. This level, it's the first level, so it's very straightforward. It basically it's a good showcase of how the movement works. But I'm probably going to use this level to talk about why I'm using this run in particular to submit, because it's not my PB. You'll see my splits there on the right. That is my PB, a 131.21. The final time that I get in this run, I believe, is a 131.26. It might be a 131.25 if I, retime it. But there's really not much of a need to do that right now because, again, it's not my PB. But the reason why I wanted to use this run is because I think it's a much better... I think it does a better job of showcasing the run. And also, my current PB, the 131.21, I got last year in mid-2022. And at that time, I was using a lot of older strats and a lot of outdated strats that I don't use anymore. And the reason why I think the run was good was because I did a really good job with what I had. I just, executed, the old strats very well. Now this run, I'm using a lot of newer strats and a lot of much better strats too. But the reason I didn't PB is because I made a lot of mistakes during this run, which I'll be sure to point out. Those actually don't happen until a lot later in the run. In this particular one, I get on a pretty good pace for the first half of the entire run, but then towards the end of the run, things kind of start to fall apart. But we'll talk about that when we get there. But the reason why, even though it's not technically my PB, I think it's very close to my PB, and I think it does a better job showing off the run and showing off a lot of the strats that I will be using if this does make the show. I think I got 145 there, which is pretty good. My average is about a 146 for level 1. But yeah, that's the reason why I wanted to submit this run in particular. I am currently trying to. I'm currently in the middle of a grind, trying to get a much better time. I'm definitely capable of getting a sub 131, and my overall goal right now is to get a sub 130. I think that's a very plausible goal. You'll actually see you'll notice my sum best is a 129.08 right now, but I think it's actually going to go down another 5 seconds, I believe, just during this run alone. So I've been working hard trying to improve my times a lot. And this was definitely the closest I got through breaking through my PB barrier. You'll see by World 4, I think I get up to about like 50 seconds ahead of my PB. Which is quite a bit. And I'm even on pace for a 129 through the first half of the run until things fall apart later. But this is the first boss, by the way. This is Octo Oven. His patterns are very predictable, so he's a fairly simple boss. His attacks are the same every time. So the hardest part is just trying to, get on top of him and then destroy the tentacle as quickly as possible. Doing so will then end the phase and trigger the next one. And you basically just have to do that 3 times. Each time Octo Oven will get like a new little technique, like he does a shower here. You'll actually see me get damaged purposefully on there. For some reason, doing that, he'll actually then stop his attack. Usually what he does is he'll put the shower down and like do he'll do like a circle with that to try to spread the map. But if you get damaged, he'll actually then immediately retract the shower and then continue to his next attack. So getting damage there is actually faster. You also see me throw a bomb before he does his attack to extend the bread to so you can climb on him. This is to damage the tentacle a little bit, so that I can go on and then destroy the tentacle faster. But yeah, that's the first boss. Here you're gonna see me wait a little bit. This is just so I can get the 50 eggs that you get as a reward when you complete the boss. If I had gotten the Zatfish right away, I wouldn't have gotten those 50 eggs. And getting these 50 eggs in particular is really important to unlocking crawling bombs later in World 2, which are very important to the run. So during this like first part of the game, waiting for me to fuck up somehow again in level 4. Sorry. F-bomb. I should put a bleep there. But anyway, I was saying, yeah, we're going to unlock curling bombs later. And so during this first part, I'm going to be doing I'm going to be collecting a lot of power eggs as possible to try to unlock those when I can. You need 500 to unlock curling bombs. So I'm going to be doing that before the last 2 levels of World 2. Curling bombs are a type of sub-weapon that basically make a line of ink in front of you. And while they don't seem like, very important from an online perspective, if you play online, in speedrunning, they are very, very useful. Once I unlock them, you're going to see me use curling bombs a lot during the run. But here's the first level of World 2. This is where we first are introduced to Sheldon, who is going to start requesting us to use a specific weapon during almost every single level, except for Octoling levels, but we'll talk about those later. So the first, we're starting with level 4. We get introduced to the roller. The roller isn't the best weapon for mobility, but it's very good at damage. You're going to see me use the vertical flick a lot, which will create a path of a straight path of ink in front of me. There I throw a bomb to try to get that Relonium there to to kind of make a pathway. That one's very hard to get to. Usually we try to aim for the dead center so it makes a straight path. But they can be very finicky, so it's not very often you get a full-on straight pathway from that Relonium. Usually, a lot of times it'll go off to the left or the right. But you know, once you see what the path is, you just gotta work with it. Nothing you can do to go back down. I'll throw a bomb there to. I usually. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't for that. Usually, I try to aim that bomb to kill that Octofurler.
That's fine. I'll take it.
Which will kind of like create a splash of ink that I could then swim through to get to the final jump pad there. But yeah, I had a little mess up there, but I improvised a little. It's important to know backups. Backups are very important, especially for a marathon run. Here I'm gonna unlock level 9 using splat bombs, but then we're gonna leave it. We're gonna come back to it later. You're gonna see me do that a lot. Like first, I'm gonna be throwing bombs on top of a platform to unlock a level, just so we can super jump to it, because doing that is much faster than just walking all the way up to it. And also, I'm gonna unlock levels and then leave them later. Because the level 9, the level unlock, we're actually going to be saving that until we unlock curling bombs. Because that level is a lot faster with curling bombs. I mean, technically every level is faster with curling bombs if you had access to them. But of course, you're not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to have enough eggs to unlock curling bombs for every level. So you have to prioritize which levels are better to come first. There I leave a bomb, which will fully extend those, I think those are called ink furlers. So, yeah, and then I get on top of them to kind of boost myself all the way to the end, which is faster than doing it the normal way. I'll leave a bomb there, try to kill those guys so I can get more eggs, grab a box there. Here we got a little cannon. There I try to aim a bit up so those enemies in the back don't shoot the ink furler and then retract it. That could be a bit annoying when you shoot it. You think it's going to come all the way out, but then the enemies shoot it and then have it immediately retract, and then you have to get back in the cannon and shoot it again. But I found a good setup so the ink filler will come out every time and the enemies won't be able to shoot it. Here I'm going to unlock basically the rest of the levels. I'm going to get the roller there, unlock the level. It's faster to kind of roll over the kettle, which will instantly unlock it. I'm going to super jump up to a level right here that I just unlocked, level 6. And then before that I unlocked the level that we're going to next, level 5. But this one right here is level 6. Very mature. This is where we get introduced to the charger. The charger is a bit of a... It's a fairly balanced weapon. It's very accurate. It has good range, but it's not very... It can be very hard for mobility sometimes. But for this kind of level right here, we have to shoot these really far grappling hooks, to which you need to traverse the level. The charger is very useful here, much better than a normal shooter weapon, which with much less range. Range is definitely everything when it comes to this level here, which is good that we have the charger. Back there, I just did a cool little jump where. Or a shot where you actually have to stand on a railing and then jump, which will barely give you enough range to get that grappling hook all the way up there. I also picked up a stingray as well, which I'm going to use for a really cool skip right here. I'm going to shoot this propeller, guide the platform with the Zapfish all the way up here, and then get... and then it's already done. And then I use the stingray to... get a to touch a grappling hook, which basically, even if you touch it with a stingray, it'll still bring you over to that one, even if it's like all the way on the other side of the stage. And because I got the platform right next to that platform, then I was able to just shoot up to that platform, and then get the Zapfish. That's probably the biggest skip that you're going to see in the entire game. It skips probably about the last third of the level. There's really not that much big skips in this category. It's mostly just like level execution. You know, just how what's the fastest way you can, play each level without breaking the game. There's not a lot of glitches or exploits. It's just really good execution and movement. This is level 5. This is where we get introduced to the dualies. You're going to see me jumping up and dodge rolling a lot on these grind rails here. I'm also collecting a lot of power eggs as well, because this is where I have to have 500 by the end of this level, so I can unlock curling bombs after this. So I'm going to be trying to make sure that I have 500 by the end of this. But yeah, you're going to see me jump up and dodge roll, because doing that is basically faster than just, riding the grind rail and doing nothing. Because the grind rails, they're kind of auto-scrollers in a way, unless you have the dualies where you can jump up and dodge roll forward to kind of it's kind of like nudging. It's basically like when you're on a chair, and you're nudging your way forward. I'm gonna be collecting a lot of eggs here. I don't know if you can see the egg counter. It's in the top right. It's kind of hiding behind my splits. But my goal is to have 490 by here, because I get a bonus 10 eggs when I complete the level. There we go. 138. That's pretty nice. I think this is a gold. Excuse me. Ooh, almost. But yeah, so I got a bonus 10 eggs because the game thought I had a special. We have no idea why the game thinks that you finish the level with a special, because if you do, then you get, if you finish any level with a special stored that's not used, or a suit, or an extra suit of armor, then it gives you 10 eggs at the end of the level. But for some reason, if you don't die during level 5, then the game somehow thinks you have a special, and it'll give you 10 power eggs. We have no idea why it does that, but it does, so we take advantage of it. The only time when it doesn't activate is if you die in level 5. If you don't, then you get the 10 eggs. If I didn't, there would have been a suit of armor that I would have gotten as backup to make up for those 10 eggs. But here's level 9. Here's the one we skip. This is where we unlock curling bombs. And so I'm going to be doing a bit of a route that's kind of... it's a bit hard to execute, but it is faster. There is multiple routes that you can take in this level, because you're put on a multiplayer map. This one's the Reef. And so, it's a pretty open map, and all the... these mini Zapfish, where you have to collect 8 of them, which will finish the level. So right there, that was the 8th and final one.
Well, that's the best level 9 I've had all day.
Yeah, I was really struggling with this level a lot.
And I golded it too, jeez.
Yep. And that wasn't even my best level 9 too. I think I got a 37 there. My best is a 35, I believe. So if I gotten that time, then I would have golded this level by 2 seconds. But I just haven't...
At least by another whole second.
Yep, at least. But I just haven't gotten a 35 in a run yet, only during practice. But here's level 7. This is the level that really, where having curling bombs really comes in handy. Doing this level without curling bombs is almost just a big no-no. Yeah, you shouldn't do it. This level is so much better with curling bombs, and it's mostly because of these squeegees. So big squeegees are something that you're going to see periodically during the run. but you're gonna see it again. It's basically these guys that kind of like roam around the map, and their actions are basically RNG because they just kind of go around and they have very sporadic behavior. But having curling bombs is very good to manipulate their RNG because if you see, I'm throwing one that right there, and then that squeegee followed it because the squeegee likes to follow the curling bombs. So a lot of times you'll see me throw it, and the squeegee will follow it, which will help manipulate their RNG. They do follow splat bombs as well, but obviously since those explode just after a couple of seconds, and then you have to throw another one, they're not as effective to luring the squeegee in a constant manner as clone bombs are, since they move in a direct straight line and stay on the ground for quite a few seconds, which gives you time to refill your ink and throw another one, which you're going to see me do right here as well. I threw a bomb there to try to unlock this a key right there so I can unlock this cage, unlock the squeegee, and I'm just going to throw a curling bomb right there. Squeegee's going to keep following it, and by the time that curling bomb explodes, I'm going to throw another one so it can keep following that and not turn back. Because as you see right there, it immediately turned around and started following the enemies. 149, pretty good. That was a pretty decent world too. Didn't make a lot of mistakes. About to fight the World 2 boss here, Octo Samurai. This guy is... I don't know if I want to say he's the hardest boss in the game, but he's a very annoying boss. Because you get the roller. The roller is probably like the worst weapon to take on Octo Samurai with. Because Octo Samurai is very... he's pretty unique by how he works. I mean, basically what you do to defeat him is you basically just have to shoot him. You know, there's no having to wait for until he reveals his weak spot. You basically have to keep shooting him until enough until he reveals his weak spot. You don't have to wait or anything. You just have to, just keep hitting him and hitting him. There's no other boss that's really like that. But because of that, fire rate is very important. So having a non-shooter weapon, having the roller, which only does like one flick at a time, that's what makes him such an annoying boss, is because of the weapon that you give. If we had like the dualies, for example, we could just basically just keep shooting him, and we would basically defeat him before he can even do anything. And the boss would be done in a blink. Like if you watch the NG Plus video or like the IL of this guy, we basically use the level 3 hero shot, which has an insane fire rate, and then we just basically just shoot him, and then in 10 seconds he's done. He doesn't even have time to think. But yeah, that's why he can be such an annoying boss. But I think this fight is going pretty well. What you basically have to do is you basically just have to, space your attacks as best you can. I think you'll see phase 2 and phase 3, which this is phase 3 right here, are a bit similar. I'm gonna keep hitting him a bit, and he's gonna get stunned, and he's gonna do like that attack right there. And then you have to kind of get out of the way so we can do that.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's the right
There I kind of messed up. Usually you can, after he does that first swipe attack, then you can kill him. But I didn't get as many hits on him as I want, so I let him do another one, so then I could finish them. If I didn't, if I kept trying, then he would have like jumped away, and I don't have to track him down. So I tried to make it, so I kind of tried to manipulate him so he would do another swipe attack, and then once he was done, then I could kill him. Because again, if I mess it up, then he would have actually jumped away, and then I have to go get him, which would have wasted time. I think that was a 110. That was a pretty decent fight. That was still pretty good. Yeah. So this is like a pretty good run so far. The first 3 rolls, I'm on like a great pace. I think. Yeah, you'll see on the top of my splits, my World 2 exit was 29:10. That is really good for my standards, and I think that's not far from world record. I'm only, and if you look at my best possible time and some best too, I've only managed to lose a little over 10 seconds throughout this entire run, and it's already the first half hour. So, and that pace is going to continue at least through World 3, and for the first half of World 4. After that, it will kind of fall apart there, but we will identify that bridge when we get to it. But here we are in World 3 now. This is arguably the hardest world in the game, just because every level is like its own challenge. This level right here is probably one of the hardest levels. I think if you ask a lot of any percent runners, they'll tell you that level 11 is probably the most difficult. It's supposed to be because of these enemies that you'll see that I've killed called Tentacooks. They basically, each of them hold a key, but as soon as they see you, they'll basically start like dashing away from you. But each of them has a certain quick kill. You can kill them quickly. I'm pretty sure that's what quick kill means.
Again, with the 1.5.
So there I did a cool trick called fence hop, where you basically, it's hard to explain, but you basically jump to a fence, turn to a squid, and then turn to a kid form, and then back to squid form to basically coast your momentum to make an utterly impossible gap. It's a bit hard trick to explain, but it's a bit finicky. It's pretty weird. There, I'm going to throw a bomb in front of his pat there so I can kill that Tentacook.
Not this time, buddy. Not this time.
He almost tried to kind of maneuver himself away from me, but I was able to kill him in time. If I didn't kill him, then he would have started like running like all the way around that map right there, which would have lost me a lot of time. Did another pretty precise jump there. That's... I probably made it look easy. That jump back there is not very easy to make. Yeah, a lot of those like quick kills on those Tentacooks, if you don't, they're a bit precise, and if you don't get them, then they can be very devastating. You can lose a lot of time for them, and you have to do like all these different, and you have to do that like 5 different times. There's 5 different quick kills for those Tentacooks. Combine that with fence jump and a really hard different jump. That's what makes it such a tricky level. It's just, there's so much you have to do, and it's so punishing if you don't do everything right. But I was able to make through there pretty good. Wasn't the best level 11, but it was decent. I think, yeah, I lost 2.8 seconds from that. Not my best, but it was still pretty good. This is level 13 here. This is where we get first introduced to the Splatling. Another weapon that's not very good for mobility because you also have to charge it up. It does have a pretty good fire rate though. The only downside is kind of the charge time. The charge time is a bit slow. And we're also introduced to these like drum switches that you basically have when you shoot them, and it extends a platform or moves a platform in a certain way. Shoot that, which will extend that platform, climb up that. Here I'm going to fully charge my Splatling, destroy this guy, and then shoot that drum, and then ink those platforms there as they're coming out all in one rev of the Splatling. And then I climb up those platforms right there before they fully retract. Here I'm gonna cut a few corners here. You can reach that grappling hook right there with the Splatling. Here we have some flutter enemies. These are kind of like squeegees, except they're a little bit two-dimensional. They also have very sporadic behavior, but they only move in lines, which make them a little less annoying. They're still not fun. They can still be pretty annoying sometimes, because they can two-shot you. They can immediately break your armor if you touch them. And then once your armor is, that was a bit sketchy there. I almost didn't make that jump. Here I'm also you can also reach that the I'm a couple corners here. I can reach those grappling hooks just by you basically you have to jump off while you're shooting so you can reach them. And it's also a little RNG too. It's a little bit RNG too because of because the how you're shooting the different like bullets of ink that you shoot go in random orders. So that's what we call shot RNG. Here we're going to be entering another Octoling level. You'll see I switched to the dualies there, just because there are the dualies are the most mobile weapon out of all, and thankfully for Octoling levels you can actually choose which level you enter with. It doesn't give you a specific weapon, so you're going to see I'm going to choose the dualies every time for Octoling levels just because they're the best for mobility.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, I missed. I was trying to get my Curlin to unlock that that mini Zapfish there, but it just went right around it. But yeah, we're gonna choose the dualies every time for Octoling levels, just because they're the best for movement. There I actually dodge rolled and then shot. If you dodge roll with the dualies, then your two reticles will actually merge into one reticle, and then you'll actually get basically a shot with extra fire rate. So doing that basically broke that mini Zapfish faster. You're going to see me do that a couple times in this world's boss fight, Octostomp, which we'll get to later. Or you're also seeing me do it right here. You see on my dodge roll, the two reticles line up, which breaks that box faster. And also for the kettle right there as well. As soon as you start moving, then the reticles will separate back again. So that's why I'll stay in place a little bit while I'm firing. And then I'll start moving. Here's level 12. We get the hero shot. This level is basically involves these bounce pads right here. So the main thing I'm going to be kind of like taking advantage of in this level, or the main gimmick that speedrunners have, is you're going to see right here, I'm basically going to swim into these bounce pads here. And so what that does is if you swim into a bounce pad, it will actually carry your momentum. If you jumped on it in kit form and try to move forward, then you go a bit slower than if you swam into it. There I make a little precise jump. If I tried to bounce those, I made that that gap back there in 2 bounces. If you tried that in kid form, you wouldn't be able to make up to that platform in 2 bounces. And then here I basically just gracefully fall. I kind of bounce off that beam there to kind of direct me to the super jump pad right there.
Come on, get there, please.
Oh, that was close. I almost didn't make it. This is also a cycle-based level too. Those platforms that goes from side to side, those are on a global cycle, I believe.
I'll take it.
They'll still go level 122. That's pretty average. Here, we're going to be throwing some more bombs onto a platform to unlock the next level. This is level 10 right here. This is where we first get introduced to the Slosher, one of my personal favorite weapons. Probably, maybe not my favorite weapon in single player, but my just favorite overall weapon to use. So this level, the main gimmick in this level is it has these enemies called Octo Seekers. Usually the devs kind of want you to take a more Metal Gear Solid approach and kind of sneak past these guys. You know, they got like searchlights, they're looking for you, and you gotta sneak past them. But we don't got time for that. We're speedrunners, so we're just gonna kind of be waltzing right past them. Sometimes they won't see us, but even when they do, like this guy right here, we're just going to go right past them. He can't catch us. We're too fast. There, I threw a bomb to destroy those boxes. Save some time. Usually what I try to do is I try to kill that enemy back there and activate that pufferfish in just one shot of the slosher, but I guess it just didn't, it couldn't reach this time. I think my aim was probably off. Here's an Octoseeker right here that you have to kind of get on top of to make this platform right here. That Octoseeker is kind of going around in a circle. It's on a regional cycle, so as soon as you enter that section, then the cycle will start. So you have to go fast enough to make sure you make that cycle. Because if you don't, then you have to wait for that Seeker to go all the way back around, which wastes a lot of time. So that's why it's very important to get the cycle. There, for some reason, my you can inflate both of those sponges with one shot of the slosher, but I guess it couldn't reach the second one for some reason. Only cost me a couple of seconds though, not bad. I'm gonna throw a bomb there to unlock that kettle so I can just unlock it and then 2 sloshes.
Get me out of World 3, please.
Yeah, I'm definitely ready for World 3 to be done. Because, again, like I said, every level is just like, there's so much that can go wrong in World 3. Every level is its own doozy. Especially this level right here. This is level 14. I think this is my personal opinion for hardest level in the game. I hate this level. There's so much that could go wrong. It's a very precise level. You're using the charger, which really emphasizes that. There I did a trick called, we call it car wash skip. It's basically where you kind of you basically damage boost to try to force your way up. If you fail that trick, and it is easy to fail that trick, you lose 20 seconds because you go all the way back to the beginning of the level. It's a very punishing skip if done incorrectly. And I think it's only saves about 5 seconds. Let's see. Here I'm gonna be doing like a store charge there, so I can kill that Octo Sniper that was bugging me this entire section. That can be a bit hard because you try to. What I try to do is put myself in kid form before I get to the top, so I can kind of like, so I can get to the next platform early, if that makes sense. This is probably the hardest section of the game. Alright, sure, that Emmy, that jump there is so hard. It's so risky, because if that other enemy back there turned around and started shooting me, it would have been almost impossible to make that jump. And you're basically you're jumping like from a platform onto a wall that's not even in front of you, it's on the side. It's so awkward. But that was a very good level. 148. I think I golded by almost 4 seconds. It was a nice gold. Yeah, that was really good though. But yeah, that level is not easy at all. Here I'm going to do a little jump to just make that grappling so I can get to the boss fight. Alright, so this is Octostomp. This is kind of a rematch because he was the first boss in Splatoon 1. Oh, I also forgot to mention that for every single boss, except for the final boss, as soon as I touch the ground after the super jump, I am restarting the level. That's because as soon as you set foot onto the battlefield, that it will trigger a cutscene. But if you restart the level just before the cutscene triggers, and basically get there again, then the game thinks that you've already watched the cutscene. So once you get there again, it will give you the option to skip the cutscene, which you saw there. So that's why I do that. You can do this for every boss fight except for the final boss. There, I wasn't able to get the quick kill on the buckle on Octo Stomp. You can destroy the buckle before he does another stomp there, but I wasn't able to get it. There, I'm going to be doing another dodge roll, so the reticles collide, so I can destroy the tentacle faster. And then here you basically just have to do the same thing as phase 2, except he's got, he has a bigger plane in which to hurt you. There, I just kind of damage boost through him. Try to get as many hits as possible. And there, I was able to get the quick kill that time. That was pretty good. There we go. That's the fight. Again, like, this run, like, has gone pretty well so far. I really haven't made any big mistakes. 117, not bad. I think my best is a 114. I lost 3 seconds there just because I didn't get the quick kill in phase 2. But not a big deal. Again, if you look at my best possible time, I've only managed to lose about 30 seconds in the first 45 minutes of the run. If I had kept this pace up, then it's possible I might have gotten a 129. I've had to play, the end game really, really well, which, of course is not easy because the end game can get pretty intense. But we're moving on to World 4. I'm almost 50 seconds ahead, as you can see there. This is probably definitely my best paced run going into World 4. Unfortunately, this pace is going to break by the end of this world. It'll be a couple levels before that we get there, but this pace is eventually going to break, unfortunately. There I unlocked a level with splat bombs to the left and then went to the right. Gonna be doing this level right here, number 17. We get the slosher back, which we'll be using again. This level's not too complicated. It's basically just got like platforms that are constantly turning. They are on a global cycle, so trying to make the best cycle is very important. Because if I fall behind at all, it just kind of complicates things a bit. Because then you're not on the right cycle, and then you kind of have to improvise. Here, what I think I'm going to do is I'm not going to take the best cycle route, mostly for safe reasons. Because I think, because I was on such a good pace at the time, I wanted to play it safe. I went kind of like on the side of that platform. Usually, you can get that. You can, if you're on a good pace, you can get to that platform, and get it on the other side if you're early enough. But it's a bit risky too, because you could fall off, and so the reason why I decided to go, on the other side, was just to play it safe, because I didn't want to risk falling off. I didn't really want to take any risk because of how good of a pace I was on. $135 still good. Yeah, I lost about a second there because it wasn't the best cycle I could have gotten. It was still decent though. Because I unlocked this level, I could just super jump to it. This is level 16. The main gimmick for this level is the bowling balls. This level could be a bit tricky just because the platforms or the stage is so narrow, and the bowling balls can have really weird hitboxes. Sometimes they can damage you, even if you think you're not anywhere near them, or even if you think you're not touching them. And they have really bad knockback too. And so because the platforms are so narrow, they could just completely knock you off the stage. So yeah, that can be very unforgiving. And this I'm also trying to make a global cycle as well. It's a platform they're going to see upcoming here, that goes up and down. So I'm going to try to make a platform. Alright, is this platform right here? Yeah, I'm going to try to get there before it retracts back down. Yep, that was probably... Yep, that... Because if I didn't make that in time, then I would have to wait for that platform to come back up, which would have lost me close to about 5 seconds. So that could be pretty diminishing if you don't get it. I get a different geyser to kind of boost me up to the platform Zapfish. 126, not bad. Here I'm going to switch to the dualies. Just so I can have a better fire rate. Excuse me. There I'm going to unlock another level. And then we're going to come back to it later. I'm going to kind of weave around those boxes so I don't have to spend a couple of seconds trying to break them. So I can get to this level right here, which is another Octoling level. That's another reason why I switched to the dualies, so I could play them on this stage here. This one's Moray Towers, so the mini Zapfish route for this one is a lot more rigid just because of the design of the map. You also saw me there. I used the dodge roll to kind of like force myself downwards so I can get to the ground faster. You know, because it's such a vertical stage. Yep, that's the level. 49, pretty good. That was gold, somehow. I think my best is a 48 there, so could have been better. Here we're going to go down to a level here. Bomb's a little too far away.
Bomb was a little too far.
That's what I said. Yeah, I'm 50 seconds ahead of my PB. Like, I still can't believe I was able to get on such a crazy pace like this. Unfortunately, I think that's as good as it gets. It's all downhill from here. I'm still going to have a few decent levels, but once we get to the last level of World 4, it's going to get a bit ugly, unfortunately. This level 20 here, it's going to be it's the only level where we have to use the umbrella, which is a more shotgun type weapon. This is another level which I don't like, mostly because of the end. It has a really precise jump at the end, which I'm infamously known for struggling at. Or I guess I should say famously known for struggling with, not infamous. Here we kind of have a split path. There's 2 keys at the end of each path that we have to get in order to get to the final section. There I kind of like meticulously place my curling bomb so it will explode at a certain time, which will kill those enemies there. so I don't have to shoot them. This section just had invisible pathways. But I've memorized where the platforms are, so I always know where I'm going. Because I've played this game so many times. There was the 2 keys I had to use. Here's the final section. Have to shoot that propeller there. So move this platform so I can get to here.
Oh, I'm late.
Yeah, that's another global cycle right there. Those ink pillars going in and out, which will reveal a propeller. Yep, so that was jump right there. Yeah, you can see I'm very happy that I made that. Yeah, that jump is not easy to get. You basically have to jump and kind of like jump off the platform, but also then once you shoot, pull back so you still land on the platform, which will cause, so you shoot the propeller, cause the platform holding the Zapfish to come down, so you just hop on it. The normal way is you have to kill those like snipers, which were also trying to shoot at you while you're trying to do the jump. And if once you kill those snipers, it unlocks a key and takes a bunch of time. But if you fail that jump, I think you lose like 10 seconds if you die. And it's not easy at all. It can be very frustrating. This is level 18. This is widely known as the auto-scroller level. This game has the only 2 auto-scrollers in the entire game. And it's this one right here where we basically have to take a grind rail all the way up to the top of this tower. We don't have the dualies because we were assigned the charger at the beginning of the level, so we can't dodge roll our way up. We do that in NG Plus though. In the NG Plus category, we give ourselves a dually so we can just dodge roll up. But then we also have another autoscroller at the end, and that one is an autoscroller no matter what. There's nothing we can do to speed it up. We'll see why in a second. Yep, we basically are on this platform right here that's moving at a pretty snail's pace, and we're just dealing with having to defeat a bunch of enemies that come by. But I know pretty much by heart when and what enemies spawn. Yeah, there's nothing we can do to speed this up. I'm sure this would be if this was in GDQ, there's probably be a time to say, well, we got time for donations and stuff, because there's not much going on. We're just waiting around. Get a little power container there. I'm not paying much attention to collecting power eggs. As much as I was when I was trying to unlock crawling bombs. There is one more unlock that we do is, and as I said, we unlock the, or I should say upgrade the hero shot to level 2, because we have to use the hero shot for the final boss. But using the level 1 hero shot for the final boss is very hard. But luckily by the end of the run we have enough to unlock an upgrade for the hero shot, which makes the final boss a lot more doable. But here we entering the last level, level 4, level 19. This is the definitely the longest level in the game. It can be very tedious. This is the only time we're using the blaster too, which has a horrible fire rate. Well, because it's a blaster. So not very good for movement. And if you thought 2 pathways with 2 keys was was already tedious enough from level 20, this one has 3 different pathways with 3 different keys. Excuse me. They relocked the first one. Okay, so we got the first key. There, I'm going to be leaving a splat bomb behind, which will activate the switch. How it basically works is like you have like 3 different keys which unlock like 3 cages that have a button or a switch inside them. When you activate all 3, that will unlock the final section. Oh, wasn't able to. Usually you can activate both those switches there with just the just one shot of the blaster. But I think that's kind of like what the devs intended. Like it's designed to teach you how the blaster works. But mostly the gimmick with this level is just how you activate a switch and then platforms move. There I kind of used like that moving platform once I hit the switch to kind of fling myself on the platform to get up there faster. Here I'm going to do a little bit of a complicated switch skip. Once you kill these 3 guys here, it's going to reveal a switch, and I'm going to leave a splat bomb for that right there. And then I'm actually going to pause, which will activate... So once you activate that switch that revealed itself, once I killed the 3 enemies, then I left the splat bomb there so I could start heading towards the next switch, but it didn't activate all the way, so I used the thing called pause glitch. If a button is inked but not all the way, then if you pause the game, then it will actually then activate the switch. It will trick the game into like activating the switch for you.
Really? What was?
So that gave me time to get that last switch, which was turning around. So I could be there in time to activate that. But as you can see right here.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. This is probably the most like hated section of the entire game right here. These 3 squeegees are very infamously known for not wanting to cooperate with you at all.
Wow. All right. Didn't think that was gonna happen.
Usually this section is not too bad with the blaster because the blaster is pretty good at getting the squeegee's attention just because it has like more of a it has more of an explosive property. But yeah, I fell off the squeegees and I had a tough time trying to get back on so I can get the key and unlock the cage to get to the end. I lost 20 seconds there. That was the first like major mistake that I've had this entire run. And I think I'm about to lose some more time there on this boss. This is oh, sorry. Hey, look. This is how it goes. Past me. Yep. It can be like this sometimes. So this is definitely the most precise boss in the game because you basically have to snipe these those.
Yep, this is it. Here it is. My luck has officially run out.
Yep.
This is it.
Yeah, I'm starting to get a little disappointed. Trying to get a little salty. Just because I'm finally actually making mistakes that I somehow managed to avoid up until now. This boss can be a little unforgiving. Here I'm trying to snipe the first 3. So before he retreats, and then afterwards he'll do like a charge attack, and from there I can basically snipe the last octocopter from Octoshower. And then once he lands on the ground, he'll reveal his sweet spot. Here in phase 3, I basically do the exact same thing. Except it's a bit harder because the octocopters move a bit faster. Sorry, buddy. I was only able to mess up on the first phase, though. I let him get away before I was able to shoot him down. Four. I think my best time is about a 56, I believe. Yeah. Of course, I'm pretty disappointed because now my lead has been reduced from nearly 50 seconds to 25 seconds. So we're about to enter World 5. World 5, I wouldn't say it has some of the hardest levels, although there are some that are definitely a bit of definitely some doozies in there. But I think what makes it hard is just because it's at the end of the game, so you don't want to mess up. You're afraid of messing up. Excuse me. Here what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this a big pool of ink right here. I'm going to be saving that. That's going to stay there. And then I'm going to use that to kind of make a cycle to get to the DG Octavio boss fight. Here I'm basically going to kind of like snipe this kettle right here as it's rotating around. Because if you super jump it, then it'll immediately rotate upwards, so you'll land on it. If you're doing it the normal way, you would have to like wait until it goes all the way up. But if you unlock it from below and then super jump into it, then it will immediately like rotate back around. Because usually it's just kind of cycling around, if that makes sense. Here is another Dooley's Grind Revel, kind of like level 5. I like to call it the sequel to level 5. It has a lot of the same gimmicks. Dodge rolling on grind rails. There's a lot of cool movement in this level. I'm about to do like a cool damage boost right here. Yeah. That's pretty satisfying to pull off. Yeah, there I'm gonna kind of like skip down to the bottom section here. This is like a fail-safe section for above if you fall down. But just going down and getting to the end is faster. And then the rest of this level is pretty much just either going under or over in columns. Making sure I manage my ink. $151, pretty good. That was a pretty good level. Gold didn't. I was surprised, yeah. I was. Because this is me. I'm watching a video of me. Alright. So here is probably the hardest kettle unlock in the game. I don't think I get it. But there is a quick way to unlock this by basically sniping it and throwing a bomb.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah, I just missed it. I think I went a bit too early. I think that's what happened. But I was able to... so what I was trying to do, I was basically trying to shoot it with a full charge. And then throw a bomb, which will activate it basically in one go. And then I could just super jump to it. Usually what I used to do is basically throw a bomb, die, get back on the platform, then throw a bomb again. So I'd get unlock in 2 goes. But if you shoot it with a sniper and throw a bomb, you basically unlock it in 1 go, which saves a lot of time. I think 10 seconds. It definitely saves a lot of time. But I wasn't able to get it, so I just resorted to the old method in 2 goes. I think it's still going to cost me about 10 seconds, I believe. You'll see at the end of the level. Because I think the level is pretty decent. This is level 22, another one of arguably the hardest level in the game. I know I said about 3 levels now, but it kind of depends on who you ask. But I'd say 11, which was the Tennecook level, 14, which I think was my personal opinion for hardest level in the game. This is another one that's really hard, probably definitely in the top 5. And then there's one more at the end of World 5 that's, some would say, is the hardest. And for this one, it's mostly because you have to use the brush. Another awkward weapon to use at times. Just it's not bad for movement, but it has the worst range out of all the weapons, which can be a bit difficult at times to work with. There, I basically kind of stood on a platform and like tried to shoot over one of those enemies that had a shield in front of him. I basically kind of like I fling ink over his shield to kill him easily. But the reason why this level is just so hard is just because it throws so much at you. There's so much that could go wrong. And I think it has like almost every single aspect that speedrunners just don't like to deal with. It's got invisible platforms here. It's got these squeegees here that you have to stay on top of. It's got all these guys that are shooting at you. Here, thankfully, we do have access to a curling bomb throw or special. Not exactly sure what they're called. But I got a sub 2, which is pretty good. So that level was fine, but I still lost 12 seconds just because I didn't make the quick unlock. Here, I'm actually going to be switching to the Splat lane. It's mostly to help me with the unlock for the next level. You're going to see that right here. I'm going to rev up the Splat lane, and I'm basically going to ink the wall, this wall right here. Which will basically kind of go on a moving cycle when you activate this switch right here. So activate that switch, go up this wall, which I have inked. Activate this switch will lower the platform that has the level, and then that platform which I was just on will actually then like turn back down. So that's why I inked that wall so I can get up to the kettle before it goes back down. This is level 26. We got the roller again. We also, this is kind of the bowling ball sequel, if you will. It's basically, we got bowling balls and then turning platforms. Here I wasn't able to, I think I go for a backup here because I wasn't able to make the fastest cycle here. Yeah, that's not the usual way I do that section, but it's because I messed up the cycle. But, yeah, it's fine. If I had died there, I would have lost way more time. Way more time.
Whatever.
I think my movement is not exactly how I'm as good as I want it to be. It's like, it's fine. I'm just playing the game. That's all it's going. We're just playing the game. I used that Inkstorm special to basically activate a switch for me. Because the cool thing about Inkstorms is that they can activate those like drum switches, and they'll like, and as the Inkstorm is passing over the switch, it will like keep activating, which will fully extend those platforms. Um, you're actually going to see me use that trick again in the next level. So they're pretty good. They're pretty useful for that. Lock another level using splat bombs. This level 25, we get the why can't I think of the name? The splat lane. I don't know why I couldn't think of the name for a second. This level, I think that the name of it is Platform Madhouse. And as you're going to see right here, there's a decent reason for that. Here I'm going to get another Inkstorm to use at the end of the level for the same reason that we did in the last level. There's also another global cycle that I'm trying to make here as well. I don't think I'm going to make it because I'm not on a very good pace. Have to activate these two switches right here to open the door. And then have to kill all these enemies right here to reveal a super jump pad. It is possible to kill all those enemies with just one red vein of the splat lane. But it's not easy to get that. There, I get my armor broken here, but it's okay. This is the global cycle here that I'm trying to make these platforms that are cycling out there. Not the fastest cycle, but still a pretty good cycle.
No, please, just get it.
This section can be a little bit annoying because you have to keep shooting these drum switches right here to keep this platform moving, which will carry you all the way to the Zapfish. And there I used the Inkstorm, so as you can see, it keeps hitting that switch there, so I don't have to keep shooting it as it then goes sideways, which carries me to the platform with the Zapfish on it. But yeah, because I didn't make the fastest cycle there, and I struggled a little bit on the final part, lost about 6 seconds. Alright, here we're going to get to the last, I guess I'm going to call it at this point, top 4 hardest levels. This is arguably one of them. This is another doozy of a level. We get, it's number 24, we get the Slosher. This is just like a very tricky level to do right. It's very precise. It's got these platforms that basically activate when you approach them.
Whoa.
I almost just fell right between those two platforms there. Here's a really hard jump. I'm going to try to basically get right on that platform here before it escapes. That is not easy to do, by the way. And here, I'm also going to try to ink that wall before it pushes me over. Yeah, that section right there is really difficult to do right. It is very easy to die there. It's definitely one of the most chokeable parts of the run, especially since it's at the very end. Here we're going to do another pretty precise jump. This is called Senko skip, I believe, because it was discovered by a Japanese runner named Senko, who's a really good IL runner. Yeah, there I wasn't able to make it all the way. I was planning to get on this platform right here, but I didn't. But I wasn't able to get on top of that platform back there to launch me up to it right away. But luckily, I was able to to save it by going on one of those other platforms. Still lost a couple of seconds, but I didn't die as well. So was able to save it. And then there you had to ink all those switches on that cube to reveal a key, so you can get to the final Zapdos. Excuse me. Not the best 24 I've had, but certainly not the worst either. Lost about 5 seconds there. Again, that is a very, very tricky level. Yep, here we're going to be switching to the dualies because this is another Octoling level. It's going to be the last Octoling level. I was going to say it might be the hardest, but I don't know. Each of the Octoling levels are probably equally difficult in their own way. This one could be a little bit unforgiving because the Octolings are very relentless. Yep, they broke my armor there. Luckily, every time you touch a mini Zap, if your armor is broken, it will get reactivated if you touch a Zapfish. So that's why I was fine there. There, I'm gonna wait for a second before I dodge through that toxic mist. Because if you haven't played online before, toxic mist basically makes it so you can't refill ink. So I made sure I had enough ink to destroy that box back there. And there we go, we're done. That was a pretty decent level. Another gold. Yep, and now my sum of S is down to a 129.01. Yeah, improving. Definitely improving. Alright, and there's the final boss, Kettle. Before I get to the final boss, I'm actually going to be going back to World 1 to upgrade to the level 2 hero shot. Because I believe you need 800 power eggs, which I believe I have the right amount. Yep, I have 850 or 849. So now I'm basically going to be going back to World 5. I super jumped to level 22, and I'm going to use the dodge roll in to instantly die right here. So I get basically teleported back to the center of the of World 5. And as you can see right there, I used my egg pool that I placed at the beginning of World 5 to basically immediately get onto that platform and get onto the moving platform and then onto the platform with the kettle. So that saves a couple seconds to make that cycle there. All right.
Honestly, I'm just gonna say this right now. No matter what RNG I get, whether it's really good or really bad, even as bad that I don't PB, I think this is gonna be the run right here that I'm gonna submit. There was a lot of good stuff in this run. So this is it. No matter what happens, this is gonna be the one right here.
So
if you want to give me bad RNG, Kelly, or Octavio, whoever the frick is in charge of that,
language, please.
do your worst. I dare you.
So you probably heard me say RNG. That's because this is the DJ Octavio final boss fight. He is almost completely RNG. Hi, GDQ. Yep, so his boss fight is pretty RNG. Yep. Now, something that you might have remembered is that this is technically not my PB. I just missed it. But you might be thinking, but you entered the boss fight 25 seconds ahead. Well, I think you can probably put 2 and 2 together and understand why I don't PB. It's a pretty simple boss fight to do gameplay wise. You basically just have to shoot the glowing fist back at them, avoid the spinning fist right here, I've switched to a splat bomb, so if he fires both fists at the same time, I use the splat bomb right here to put some damage on both those, so I can destroy both those fists.
Nope.
Yep. I usually have a good idea of what reading DG Octavio's patterns and knowing what kind of RNG he's gonna have. Because again, like the formula for is the same. You basically have to shoot. You have to return 8 glowing. You have to shoot 8 glowing fists. As soon as you shoot 8, then the phase ends and the next one starts. It's always 8 fists. And then after 5, a text box actually appears, so I know how many I'm on. So I usually count how many fists I'm in. So you basically just have to kind of wait until he fires, the amount of glowing fists that you need. He has a suction bomb attack right here. Yep, and then he does a double spinning fist. But yeah, it's a pretty straightforward boss fight. There's not too much going on. Just gotta shoot every glowing fist back at them. But while this is going on, I think I want to take a minute to kind of explain the.
Come on! Jesus.
Yeah, that was a bit of a frustrating part. I was out of ink. But I want to use this time to explain the relay race, which is what I'm going to be submitting this as a part of. So again, so I'm submitting this as part of a relay race with 7 other runners. So it's going to be 80% Quadfecta. So we're going to do every single 80% category for all 3 Splatoon games, including the Octo Expansion DLC for Splatoon 2. So it's going to be 4 games total, or 4 runs total. And it's going to be like 2 teams. So 2 teams of 4, kind of like, a regular Splatoon battle. So we're going to have Bubble Bass, I think it's Bubble Bass. And then King J doing Splatoon 1 80%. King J has done, he's been Splatoon, and Bubba Bass have been Splatoon 1 runners. I don't know how long Bubba Bass has been doing Splatoon 1, but I know he has a PB similar to King J. So I think that's why we chose him. We wanted to choose people, who are not only good at the game, but also people who had similar PBs, so the matchup would be fairly even. And then so anyway, King J, he's done a GDQ run before, and then for Splatoon 2 we had me versus Lantro, who's there's nothing that guy can't do. He has the he's had the world record in every single full game category. But he's really good. I've known Lantro for years now, and we've always had kind of a rivalry. You could even see him chatting with me in the bottom left.
I don't even care.
I know, he's like, "Why, Octavio? Why you give me such bad RNG?" It's whatever, This game sucks. I mean, look, we can't complain. This is what we signed up for, We chose to be here. We chose to run this game. So, we love to complain about it sometimes, but you really can't. But anyway, he and I have kind of had a rivalry especially in this game. So I think it'd be really fun to kind of duke that out on the big stage. And then for Octo Expansion, we have Alpha Omega versus Wahoo. Another kind of rivalry that those two had as well, and they have pretty similar PBs for Octo Expansion. So I think that would be another good one. And then for Splatoon 3, we have Adept versus B, who also have similar PBs, but both like very good Splatoon 3 runners. And they've been improving a lot too. They've been doing a lot of attempts and a lot of practice with lately. So if this does get accepted, I really think that's going to motivate them to do to really improve their times by the time SGDQ comes around. So even though I think we have an overall estimate of 515, I mean that's pretty generous, I would say, of an estimate. We give ourselves plenty of time, and it's really motivated all of us to really improve our times too. So I think that's gonna continue to go down. But yeah, it should be a lot of fun. I really hope this gets in the show. I think it will be a really great showcase of the community as a whole. Showing off all our skills, and just and multiple Splatoon games are just really cool as well. I've been I've been a huge fan of the multi-game categories for a long time. So yeah, that's it. That's the end of the run. Language, come on. Jeez.
Man, what a run.
But yeah, I really hope that you guys at GDQ will consider this. I really think this is kind of really the penultimate submission for Splatoon. I think it'd be a great thing to show up. It really showcases how far this has come. We've come as a community, as a speed game, and everything. I think it'd be a really cool addition to the show. So I hope you'll consider it. And I hope this my commentary for this run gave you a decent idea of how the Splatoon 2 portion works. I hope you check out everyone else's submission as well. But yeah, I think it'd be great. Thank you for watching. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you've made this far, I really appreciate it.
This run, I got some stuff to say.
This was a pretty bizarre run, I will say, but I think I did a really good showing things off. But yeah, like I said, I think that's all I got here. Yeah, again, thank you for watching if you made this far. And I hope you guys will consider our submission. Thanks again. Bye.